Hi guys, welcome to Hoops Junction. Vlad here. Today we're talking about Derrick Rose going AWOL, going missing. Where's Waldo? No, where's Derrick Rose? Derrick Rose is supposed to report for the Pelicans game so the Knicks can, ball out and have him as their point guard. And lo and behold, Derrick Rose goes missing. He does not answer phones. He does not answer any texts, emails. Nobody knows his whereabouts. They literally put out an APB for Derrick Rose. The Knicks officials were saying we don't know where he is. NBA officials were saying we don't know where he is. Out today, and he said that he had a family issue. He had an emotional, we'll call it emotional breakdown. Something going on with his family. He's never felt like that before, and he went to go see his family. And he said that they asked him if he was in Chicago. He said yes. Rose said that the reason he didn't answer any phone calls is because he didn't want to hear from anybody at that time, which is all fine and dandy, but you do have an obligation to your team. And, you got to give people the benefit of the doubt. You never know, there might be some kind of family issue. Hey, maybe he found out, somebody has cancer in his family. Maybe, somebody was murdered. So, something could have happened to trigger him to do this. But, he's not really divulging the facts. And I'm a big believer in family privacy, but I'm not a big believer in standing up your teammates, especially when you're supposed to be the starting point guard for the team. And that begs the question for everybody, should the Knicks consider getting rid of Derrick Rose? Now, this is just one incident. It's not like he's been missing a ton of games, but, you really got to consider it, especially if he's averaging 17 points a game. He's averaging about 4.5 assists a game. And, he's played 33 games thus far out of 38, which is kind of good. He's healthy, but somebody shooting 24% from the field, he's barely getting to the free throw line. He gets there like 3 times a game, 3.6 times a game. Is that really worth the headache of having to, deal with situations like this? Derrick Rose just came off a court case in the summertime, where a girl was screaming rape and, that whole situation there. Then, he lands himself here. Everything's going pretty well. But, it's not showing in the Knicks play. The Knicks are 17-21, and a big push to get Rose to come to New York was, they needed point guard play. They needed guard play. I feel like Courtney Lee has somewhat been holding up his end of the bargain, defending some of the other team's best players, but not Derrick Rose. Because if you look at the Knicks, they're ranked 26 on defense, and they're ranked below average. They're right around average on offense, if not below average. So that's the headache you have with Rose. It's just like, we brought you in to boost our team, but we're kind of in the same place we were last year, the year before last. We have a losing record. And what's killing me about the Knicks is they're only 4 games out to having a 500 record. I think they're the 11th. They're in 11th place in the East. But you know how in the East things jump up like crazy because there's a lot of bad teams in the East. So I don't know what the Knicks should do about this. I don't know what is the point. Do you get rid of him? If you get rid of him, you're conceding that bringing him in didn't work. So your whole mantra of bringing in a point guard, you need a point guard, Melo needs a solid point guard. Even myself, I was saying, I was like, if Melo gets a good point guard and he has good defense behind him, there's no limit to what he possibly could do. Then you bring in a point guard, you bring in Noah, big front line. You have Porzingis, and they're still losing. So, and part of the reason that they're still losing is because Derrick Rose is not 100% holding up his part of the bargain. Especially when you're missing games and you're not letting your teammates know. You're not, you have a responsibility at the end of the day. You got to let somebody know something. Say, I'm not coming. Hey, call out of work. Like, you and I, when we have to go to work, if we're not going to be there, we have to call out of work. Isn't that so? Call out of work, man. Let somebody know. Hey, I got an emergency. I'm not feeling good. Something happened to my family. I'll let you guys know later. Anything to that effect, because that shows that you genuinely care. When you're just like, F it, man, I'm out of here. All right, my family's going, this, that, and the third. And there's not an obvious reason. It doesn't bode well for you. Trade him. What are you going to get for him? What are you going to get for him? Are you going to get Rondo? Are you going to get... Who are you going to get? You traded grant to get him and stuff like that. So, like, who are you gonna get? This every time the Knicks bring somebody in, whether it's Stoudemire, Carmelo, Chandler, they brought in Jason Kidd at one point, Sheed Wallace. They brought Quentin Richardson back in the day. Everybody that they bring in, it's like, okay, it's a new hope. You know, they had Zach Randolph, they had Jamal Crawford. Look at all the people I'm naming off, rattling off. Whenever people come to New York, it's like they stagnate. They don't play well. They just play awful. You know, like Derrick Rose shooting 24% from the three, that's awful. He can't even spread the floor or help anybody else, you know, get other shots. You know what I'm saying? He's averaging 4.5 assists a game. That's below average. Like that's not good for Derrick Rose. So it's like everybody that comes to New York, it's just like they don't live up to that hype that everything was coming up to. And that's the thing with New York. Is New York, you know, like Snoop Dogg said, New York, big city of dreams, but everything in New York ain't always what it seems. You know what I'm saying? So is it that? Is it like when you come to New York, you look better than what you seen, and then, you know, we get disappointed. You know, I'm on the East Coast, so I'm getting all these MSG games. I'm watching all the Knicks games, and it's just like, how do you lose this game? How do you lose that game? Where is Derrick Rose? Where's his impact on the game? You'll see it early in the game, but then after a while, defensively, he's letting things go, defensive breakdowns. He's not pushing the pace as he should sometimes. You know, and is it worth the headache? That's just the bottom line. Do you think it's worth the headache? I don't know, man. I don't believe on giving up this soon in the season when you're 17-21. The same way that the Knicks lost 6 straight, they could win 6 straight if they just play the games. If they win the games that they're supposed to win and play the way that they're supposed to play, they should be winning games. If you have Carmelo Anthony, he's not the superstar anymore, but he's a star in this league. He can score with the best of them. You have Porzingis, you have a Derrick Rose, you have Courtney Lee, who is solid. See what I'm saying? A lot of people don't remember Courtney Lee, I believe, went to the finals with that Orlando team that had Dwight Howard. So it's just like you have players, but can they gel? And can Derrick Rose be the floor general that you need? And are you really willing to bail on them 38 games into the season, halfway through the season? That's a decision that they have to make, because if you look at the whole league, it's a young league now, young point guards. All the young guys are eating. Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant. It's all the young guys eating. Michael Conley. It's a young man's league. So, and Derrick Rose is not old, but just the injuries to his body makes him that much older. Though he's 28, but he has like a 33-year-old body. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he misses games just due to rest. What would you do if you were Phil Jackson? Would you first, number one, resign? Would you number two, trade Derrick Rose, try to bring in a point guard, and take all that criticism for bringing him in the first place? What are your options? What would you do as a GM? What is it that you want to do? My thing, maybe I would trade him. I would just have to have a sit down with him. I don't think finding him was enough for the whole incident of him not calling us to go into the game. You know, you could perfectly say, I'm not playing in that. I have something to do. My family, just let somebody know. Because the way that they were talking on SportsCenter and ESPN, everywhere, NBA TV, it sounded like Derrick Rose is dead in the ditch somewhere. Like, you don't want that. You don't want that to be the kind of perception that you're holding. And you don't want to be on the next day saying, you don't want to say, I don't care what anybody feels about it. Like, you want to kind of have some modicum of respect, because at the end of the day, you let your teammates down. And you get the team down, you let yourself down. Let me know what you think. This is Vlad from Hoops Junction, where Hoops meets Hoopla.